What is up, everyone? This is Will Mosley. I create films, podcasts, and blog posts, promotionals, all that stuff about the creative process. Today, we're talking about something that it's a little bit of a hard spot for me. It's what happens when you learn the magic trick. If you need a promotional film that is just boss that represents your Asheville business, I can make that happen for you. Go over to heywillmosley.com and go ahead and get yourself a quote. Okay, so we've all been there. We've all seen something that is truly magical, whether that's seeing an action movie or that's seeing Gordon Ramsay whip up some crazy whatever dish, or someone running 50 miles. It's ridiculous. It seems insane. It seems impossible. And a lot of times those things that we see are things that we want to achieve or we want to do, and you're like, wow, I wish I could fly, or wow, I wish I could do all these different things, right? And a lot of times they're just wishes, and you're like, okay, yeah. But sometimes there's something that captivates us so much that we decide to start learning, deciding that that's something that we want to reach because it's so amazing. And I've had 3 or 4 of those types of things in my life, I believe, that have consumed years of my life. I think the first was art, like being a painter or being a manga artist, just the arts in general. I wanted to do that so bad. And I don't believe I ever got to the point of magician with that. That's always kind of been something I don't think I've ever reached that point where I felt like drawing or painting consistently on the drop of a dime and making it happen. It was always one of those things where it's like, I can do this, but mess up here, mess up there, whatever. I don't think I ever hit that pillar, that mark, and that's cool. The next one for me was design. I remember the first time I realized and I saw an advertisement. It was actually like a lingerie advertisement, but it wasn't any person in it. It was just a matter of it was a set of ads that looked cohesive, that made sense, they were clever, and that captivated me, how this person made this ad for this magazine and all these different things. I had no clue of photography. I had no clue of anything to be able to pull it off. I just knew that it was really crazy cool, and I'd love to be able to do that one day. With design, and I also should say branding, because this is part of it. Logo, identities, branding, stuff like that. They're all one and the same for me. I remember seeing the FedEx logo and thinking, wow, this is seeing the negative space and things like that. And for many years, it was something that I continued to learn and get better at and get more and more better at, to the point that I could look at someone else's ad or look at someone else's brand and understand exactly the things that maybe weren't cohesive with that, or understand completely how they pulled that off, what steps were taken to make those things happen. That knowledge is with me today. It will be with me most likely forever. It's just one of those things that I cared so much about, still do. But the problem with this is once you learn the magic trick, once you learn that thing that was so unobtainable, that was so ridiculous, what happens? So, the third thing that really captivated me was coding, learning, all these different languages to be able to build a website, to be able to kind of build e-commerce stores, things like that. And those that consumed even more years of my life, where many headaches, many different things. But the fact that someone could make a site be XYZ fast while displaying crazy amounts of images. I think I always looked up to Apple's landing pages, Apple's sales pages, as that pillar of, wow, this is magic. What they're doing here. What if people actually understood all the skill and everything that it took to, to make all this work, and the parallax stuff and all this other, the films and everything in here. This is crazy, right? And I got to a point where I could go behind the scenes of their code and understand all the CSS that was happening. I didn't understand the filmmaking. I didn't understand the just how they were able to load images at that scale and that quality. I kind of did, but I didn't understand everything. But I knew enough to know that looking at that piece of work, that art, that was quality, and that took innovation. It took a lot of good talent to do. I learned a lot about the magic trick. After that, I think the very last magic trick, the last thing that finally captivated me, or just like took me in for 2 years, was seeing Peter McKinnon's movies and then seeing Casey Neistat's in a stark contrast to him, and realizing that I could actually maybe make a film. Something that scared me all my life, something that I've never even thought of maybe doing, something that I always wanted on my landing pages, on my sales pages. Wouldn't that be wonderful if there was a film there? But it was never in reach, so it never was a thing. I spent 2 years struggling, learning, and finally I'm now at the point where I can actually look at commercials on the TV screen and understand exactly how they made those and what they did and how much time it would take me to actually pull the exact same thing off. I look at films on YouTube and see mistakes. I look at my past films and understand the mistakes that I made, the timing, the spacing. I also look at the stuff now and understand what could be better or what was excellent. But the main thing is that I understand the magic trick. Learning the magic trick is a very bittersweet experience. Anyone that has watched a magic show knows this, where someone vanishes and reappears like it's magic. You don't understand how they did it, but then you see a behind the scenes of making it as magic, and you realize there's a double here and that there's something going on, and it's not as special anymore. It's not as captivating or illuminating. It's still cool, and you're like, I know how to do that, but it's not to the intensity that you once had when you knew nothing. So I ask, is it worth it to learn the magic trick? I think that ultimately, if it's something you care and love, that it is, and that will carry you through. But know that once you achieve the magic trick or know the magic trick, doesn't mean that it's magic. It just means that you understand, I guess, the practicality behind it all. And some things in life just should stay magic. And that's why it's bittersweet. Like, sometimes I wish I didn't understand all the crazy things that go into design or web or film. I wish I could just see them how other people see them. And just see them as like, oh wow, this just works. This is amazing. Alright. This was a pretty much just kind of like an essay. I just wanted to kind of like grab your attention, maybe captivate your mind, and hopefully make you think a little bit. Alright. Catch you guys on the next one. Bye.